Please come home. You know, given the era this is written in, this baby cat. There's a sweet cat behind me somewhere. But, good, decent odds that, the man in this song she's singing for is, been killed. Decent odds. I didn't say it's gonna happen. Dropping a host. Hey, Dennis. Yeah, I forgot to tag y'all. I'm sorry. I forgot to tag y'all in Twitter today. We got a little late start today. Had a case of cat gravity. Not allowed to move, you know, when Princess is on your back. I mean, you could, but then you're just being a jackass. You doing all right, Dennis? Glad to see you pop by. It's great. Yeah, it's been pretty chill here. Tomorrow's the big day. I got a Stalker. I've got a Thunderbolt, Atlas, a Viking, and a Battlemaster. Another Battlemaster, I should say. We'll be able to right a wrong a little bit that we committed earlier. Be able to right a wrong. Okay. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, my merc company is gonna be coming along pretty well. So I think I know what we're gonna do with those oil-based paints when we get there. We're gonna get some turpentine. I'm gonna buy some cheap dollar store army figures. And we're just gonna paint the living shit out of them until I figure out how to work those oil paints. And it'll also give us a chance to test out some different paint schemes for things, like, you know, future battle mechs. So the Sapphire Dragons here, a little bit of lore about my merc company that I've created for BattleTech here. This is technically the second merc company I've created, but I've made. So this group, they are all but state sponsored by the Free Rasselhag Republic. And they were founded in the year 3048. And they kind of come to fame towards pretty much during some border skirmishes with Kurita. And because House Kurita are, in fact, always the bad guys, almost, in BattleTech. So they're doing some house skirmishes, inter-house wars with, you know, on behalf of FRR. And they get some notoriety, they get some fame, you know, they do the mercenary thing in BattleTech Universe, which is, you know, kill stuff, take enemy mechs for salvage, and improve your army. And so they're pretty stout little group, and really well armed for the size of the mercenary company. They end up going out to the periphery because the FRR decides to send some expeditionary forces out there. And this isn't official lore, this is Mav lore. And anytime you send an expeditionary force out in the middle of nowhere, you're going to obviously need protection, right? Out in the great unknown. So they send out our boys and girls. We go out there, fool around, break some pirates, shoot pirates full of holes, help conquer a couple of small colonies in the name of the Free Rasselhag Republic, and after that, they start their way. They start getting reports of really well armed pirates out in the periphery states. So they decide that they take up the job to go help deal. What no one knows, of course, is these are clan mechs. The clans have begun their invasion, and our brave, intrepid heroes, such as they are, they encounter a force that, pretty much is like this adder here, a Nova, a Timberwolf, and hell, for good measure, we'll have this Executioner show up later on. So, this is kind of like what they first fight, right? This is just after the first invasion. The clans are smart. They cut off the HPG network, so there's no communications back to what they call the Inner Sphere, which is, civilization in a nutshell. Everything that can happen does out in the Inner Sphere. So they cut off the HPG network to, no comms back. They're actually working with Comstar. So the periphery kind of goes dark in the Galactic North. So no one knows exactly what the hell's going on. So, they run across these, unknown mechs on a patrol, dramatically out-ton them, because this guy here, for example, the Battlemaster, which is going to be one of the mechs that my mercenary company fields on a regular basis, is 10 tons heavier than this guy, is about 30 tons heavier than this guy, and about 50 tons heavier than this guy. So, tons, metric tons, it has to be said. So that's by, kilograms. So, they go out, they fight, they get a couple wins, because the mercenary company at this point is just heavy stacked. Like, we've got this, we've got the Stalker, which is another 85-ton assault mech. There's an Atlas AS-7D, so it's a 100-ton behemoth. And they dramatically outweigh these guys. So it's a harder fight than it should be. And everyone in the Merc company is kind of like, what the hell? And the mechanics and the tech start looking at these mechs, as salvage. And they're like, we've never seen things like this before. Like, the heat sinks are way smaller. They're way more efficient. The weapons are lighter. They're even more powerful because they have longer ranges. All this stuff. Like, the mechs are way over-engined, usually. They're faster than they should be for the firepower they're carrying. They have more armor than they should have. So, it's kind of like this, what the hell? So, the Merc Company decides to continue exploring around the periphery. And eventually, this is how they learn about the clan invasion. They end up running across a real force of clan mechs, doing a scouting mission. So, they've left the big boys in the hangars, and they run across these guys, have the collective shit your pants moment, because, the tonnage is now on the other foot, and then they realize that this Timberwolf here is, faster than a 65-ton mech. Hell, it's as fast as a 60. And, everyone, just running for their damn lives. Whatever they can get back onto the dropship, they can, and the fuck out. Uh, they nope the fuck out, as anyone rightly should. And they make their way eventually back to the Inner Sphere and find out about this clan invasion that started, and then, you know, decide, hey, let's go get some fucking payback. But yeah, that is essentially the lore. One of our pilots in the Merc Company, he is a agent of Comstar, who was pretty much hung out to dry when the clans invaded. Nobody saw fit to tell him. You know, he's just a routine spy. You know, our Merc Company's operating towards the fringes, and Comstar is always on the lookout for lost tech, lost warships, anything like that, for an advantage over the rest of the Inner Sphere. You know, he's just kind of hung out to dry. Well, you know, we all get back, and all of a sudden, this is what we find out. And then the next 2 years are a living nightmare, because the clans are a nightmare. You know, their technology is just so much better. Uh, Eventually, Comstar kind of gets its shit together, starts releasing the quote-unquote lost tech back to the Inner Sphere production lines, and, you know, suddenly there's some form of parity going on between the Inner Sphere and the clans, and then the sheer industrial capacity of the Inner Sphere pretty much just wrecks the clans. Like, it comes down to a battle called Tukiad in 3052, May 3052, and the Inner Sphere manages to get the clans, because the clans have a ass-backwards honor-bound warrior cult thing going on. So they make the clans swear that if they can win this one battle, the clans will cease their push into the Inner Sphere. And they do. Comstar beat them. Through a lot of lost tech, a lot of training, and just really careful preparation of the battlefield. Comstar beats them. And then the clans have to withdraw for 10 years. You're honor-bound to do so. And they do. And at this point, the Inner Sphere really starts to catch up tech-wise. The clans come up with some new stuff too, but the tech gap is nowhere near like it was by the end of it, or by the start of it. So anyway, that is essentially their lore. And like I said, we're taking these guys who, these are clan mechs. This is the battlefield salvage for the Sapphire Dragons. There's going to be a couple more clan mechs I pick up. Yeah, Skippy. Okay, all this now we're getting into the crappy shit. All right, we're into the crappy public domain stuff now, where the audio quality alone is so bad that they don't want to claim it as theirs. So on to epic music it is. So anyway, but yeah, you guys kind of have an idea now of what my Sapphire Dragons are all about now. And, you know, their goal is just making it by in the Inner Sphere and taking out those dirty, dirty clanners whenever they can. Because the head of their organization is from the FRR, which doesn't really suffer, because Ghost Bear does just merge with them eventually. And they kind of, you know, become one, a best of two cultures kind of thing. But up to that point, a lot of friction, a lot of tension, and, you know, plus factions like Jade Falcon exist, as well as Smoke Jaguar. So they're going to be very much they'll always have gainful employment. Plus, you know, inter-house conflicts. Hell, conflicts between corporations is still a thing too. The BattleTech universe. BattleTech, where mercenaries are honestly more powerful in some ways than the real houses are, than the governments. In some ways, the mercs have it going on over the governments in the BattleTech universe. So my other merc company is the Nemean Panthers, which, you know, our Discord is named after, as well as our MechWarrior Online pre-made. The Nemean Panthers, on the other hand, operate in the Galactic South, far, far away, and on a much more shoestring budget. Whereas the Sapphire Dragons get the best of everything the FRR is willing to sell them. Even if that were the case, down where the Nemean Panthers operate, where House Liet, the Capellan State, the Taurian Concordat, House Merrick, and Davion and the other southern periphery states exist, it's very much a shoestring budget in comparison. The FRR gets to be formed out of the best of Steiner and Kurita, essentially. Not as much the case down south, where it's... yeah. So that's going to be my shoestring budget merc company. That's going to be like, just tanks. In a universe full of mechs, just tanks. You guys are going to see tanks, infantry, a lot more light mechs. Very few assaults, and the assaults they have are going to be, less than 90 tons. They're all going to be, 85 to left and down, and they're only going to have a handful of them. So, I have two very different merc companies planned. I have these guys and those guys. And then I'll just eventually expand and buy a bunch of just rando dudes, paint them up so that we have some things for the two merc companies to shoot up without having to shoot each other. And, I think it'll be fun. So, my very first plans to play the tabletop is with a buddy that we do D&D with. And we're going to do it in Tabletop Sim. And the very first experiments we're going to commit to, like I said, keep in mind this is our first experiments, is how many tanks does it take to kill a Timberwolf? And we're going to do this experiment several times, and we're going to do it with different tank pilots as well. And we're going to find out, does it take the same battle value worth of tanks to kill a Timberwolf? Or is it so far beyond the tanks that they start having to go above and beyond? And if so, how far? So we're going to try that out in Tabletop Sim. We're both looking forward to the experiments. Because we're just going to be learning how the tabletop actually works in play practice. And the best way to do that is to just kind of come up with little scenarios like that. Babies. And we are going to record video sessions of it. It's not going to be a deal where we're going to do it and then tell you guys about it. We're going to record the whole session, edit out what we don't need as we stumble around and learn the rules, and you guys will get to see just how many tanks it takes to kill one of the most badass battle mechs to ever stride the battlefield in BattleTech. The Timberwolf can be rightly called, in my opinion, a game changer. In contrast to Mr. Tex, it is a game changer the way the Mackie runs. Not ready for full-scale war, but it clearly puts the writing on the wall to the inner sphere how woefully inadequate the technology is that they have at their disposal. Then it begins the new arms race. So in that regard, I consider the Timberwolf champion. Plus, I mean, guys, she's a sex kitten. I mean, look at those lines. I mean, it's the quintessential mech. It is the face of the franchise. She is a game changer for her time. So, and even beyond. Because clan mechs are like Legos. You can put whatever you want on them, dum-dum. So yeah, that's our current plans. We're gonna fiddle around. We're gonna find out. We're gonna take notes. Because I looked it up. I honestly went looking for it on like Reddit. I went looking for it on Google, and it would seem that very few people have done that kind of experimentation with the rules. So we're going to do it. We're going to be the ones to do it. You guys will get to see it here first. And we're going to do a lot of experiments like that before we start making narrative games and campaigns for you guys to follow along with. And as we get better with the rules, we will start playing them live online for you guys on a stream probably. But in the meanwhile, what we will do is we will record them, put them up on our respective YouTube channels, and we'll go from there. And you guys get to learn right along with us, because I'm really big on that with this channel in particular. You know, we went from a competitive gaming channel to, you know, let's learn to paint together. Let's learn how to draw together. We're going to do the same thing with Battletech. We're going to learn Battletech together. D&D, I kind of already, you know, I've got, you know, the previous edition's experience. So I don't really count that as one of our let's learn how togethers. Plus, all my players are hardened veterans. But, you know, we're very much a let's do this together and learn things kind of group. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm legitimately looking forward to learning how to play Battletech. I'm looking forward to, because I have models that have been on the pile of shame for a while. I've got all of the games, all of them, and I have, you know, I have several books. I love the lore. I love the games. Like, you know, the video games. And minis are boss now that everyone's using some variant of Alex's designs. Just, And the 3D print community is just awesome, too. So's Battletech's. So's Catalyst, for that matter. Catalyst is very much into, we don't care, just play the game. You want to show up to our tournament with 3D printed models? Bro, go right ahead. Whatever it takes to get you playing. Why is this thing being dumb? So yeah, like I said, we kind of went from competitive gaming into, you know, let's do this together. I'm a lot less salty these days because of that too. Not gonna lie, a lot less saline content on this channel since that happened. Not a bad start as far as the main color. We're gonna start putting in the lighter blues here in a minute. I'm gonna also have to go get some actual water so I can drink without alcohol. I'll be right back. We've returned. I've got some tea. I decided on tea instead of water. Oh, there's ice in it. Oh, that's cold. Alright, so, this executioner. A little bit about the executioner. So, from what I understand, it's a clan. Clan assault mech. So let's look it up for y'all. Just a little blurb. Yes, yes, it is. It is the exact same. But we're not going to stay in that color range. We're going to be working our way up. We're also going to work a little bit on redeeming Mr. Battlemaster, who honestly did not turn out as bad as I thought he did. Honestly, I might just put him off to the side for now. Now I'm really looking at him under the light. So, we need a brighter blue. We're going to be working into some brighter colors. We're going to make this a little bit more sapphire. Eventually, I am planning on doing a wash with some sapphire blue metallic, because they are the Sapphire Dragons. And I think that would be appropriate. Yep, that is the oil painted one. If I honestly had the ventilation, I would probably continue doing it. There's some stuff we're going to have to get that involves pretty hard chemicals. And I don't feel like getting high on drink. 5 points of that shit. Literally not even made for that shit. Here first. That said, don't fuck with them. So anyway, yeah, we've got these, and we are going to make sure our number 1 brush here are the executioner. I went off of a tangent. The Inner Sphere calls it the Gladiator. By the way, all clan mechs have 2 names. There is the name that it appears as was designated to it by the clans, and then there is the designations Inner Sphere gives them as they appear on the battlefield. The Timberwolf, for example, was named a Mad Cat because the targeting computer glitched the hell out when it saw it. It couldn't identify the mech. It thought it was a Marauder. Then it thought it was a catapult. So eventually it settles on Mad Cat. Just really boss, in my opinion. The Summoner is the Thor. The Mad Dog is the Vulture. Is designated as the Vulture. The Hellbringer is the Loki. They said you have a panoply of names that things get called by both factions, and this one is the Gladiator. So, was going to talk about the Gladiator a little bit. So, we're going to do a little blurb about it. We pulled up Sarna. I'm just going to read some of the Sarna stuff. I'm not going to read all of it. Just going to kind of give you guys an idea of what it was made for. I have enough experience with it in MechWarrior Online to tell you how it works in that game. Just poorly. Online has the misfortune of, you know, no dispersion, no drift in your shot while you're moving. There's a lot of things that keep MechWarrior Online from making some mechs that are really good in lore actually good in performance. So here we go. The Executioner is a 95-ton assault mech that's, you know, basically the second heaviest mech weight you can really get reliably. MechWarrior in Battletech, they go up by 5 in tonnage. 100 tons is the max, and I'm not going to talk about the super assaults. Those are trash, they never happen, and they don't really work that well anyway. So, this thing is way over-engined. It's got a massive engine in it, which it basically allows this thing to run at the speed of a 65-ton battle mech. It's got a decent amount of heat sinks. It's got the ferrofibrous, you know, because all clan mechs are a masturbation of tech. It's a pretty decent mech. It comes with, I believe it comes with mass, or it used to. At least it did in MechWarrior Online. Let me look. Yeah, so it does come with a mask. So mask is essentially like hitting nitrous on a mech. It enables it to run really fast for a short period of time. This thing will go from going like 65 kph to like 87 with the mask turned on. It is ridiculously fast. It is, however, fairly lightly armed. If I remember right, they come primarily armed with a lot of smaller lasers. Because, you know, even for clan tech, it's over-engined. You can only compensate so much, I guess, right? And it shows. So, this thing, actually the standard armament's really underwhelming. So, if you went with the Executioner Prime, the Executioner Prime only has a Gauss rifle, 2 ER larges, and 2 machine guns. Now, to be fair, that is pretty potent in Battletech. The Night Star is often armable with just 2 larges and 2 Gauss rifles. And it is much slower. But, compared to other mechs in its weight class, it is not necessarily that heavily armed. But it can support scouting actions because it is that fast. That is essentially what this thing is made to do, right? You're manhandling somewhat, you know, a light lance. You're getting the job done, and then all of a sudden you round the corner, and then this thing's there, and it says "Hello, Clarice," and you're like, "Oh God, it's going to eat me," because you know it's like 30 tons heavier at minimum. Really good mech for just high mobility fighting. Big fan of the speed. I'm not a fan of the armament necessarily. Its armament is ridiculously potent still. It's a Gauss rifle and 2 large lasers. It's never not going to have enough impact when it shoots. They're not especially well armored from what I understand. Even the clans have a certain amount of the Holy Triangle when it comes to weapons. There's speed, armor, and firepower, and one of those is going to come at the cost of the others. The Executioner does fall into that. In my opinion, it is a battle mech looking for a solution to a problem that doesn't really exist. It is an attempt. Hello, baby cat. In my expert opinion, it is a battle mech that they were like, let's just get a 95 tonner that can keep up with the mediums and the lights, and it will pound whatever that is able to chase after them into the dirt. It's not a terrible idea, except for the fact that you gave it that for an armament. So basically, all those are long cycling, high damage weapons. So you shoot it, and then you have to wait. However, it'll hurt a lot when it hits. It's not particularly good overall because of the weapons that it's got, but yeah, it's one of those deals, though. Like I said, it's kind of a solution in search of a problem, because I would much rather take this bad boy and just use that to reinforce light mechs with. If I'm needing a reinforcement tool, and a supplementary scout, as it were, I would much sooner take that. I think it's a much more attractive package. So, and I have no love for the Executioner. I don't. It's whatever, you know. It's okay. It's not bad. Just okay. There's nothing wrong with it being okay. And I'm sure someone out there loves the Executioner. It's not my baby. It'll never be my baby. When you start getting into the 95-ton range, you really gotta have either a really cool aesthetic. I'm going to swing over like Fangirl. Looking at you, Cyclops. A gimmick that's going to make me just giggle like a child, looking at you, Highlander, with Death from Above. So, Death from Above. So, like I said, now get off my tangent, get back on this discussion. So, like I said, you're looking for a solution to the problem. So, this thing. Its gimmick is it's just really fast. It's really fast for the size that this thing is, and that's fine. It's not terrible. The problem is not terrible in the 95-ton weight class. There's only 5 more tons to play with, guys. There's only 5 more tons. I'm in that weight division. I want this thing is terrifying for one reason or another. Now the Night Star, while is similarly armed and considerably slower, it's got a narrower targeting profile. This is shaped like a dude. The Star is automatic advantage. Its arms are higher slung, so it peeks over ridges better. It's also not super new. This mech was made in the year 3000, and the Night Star dates all the way back to the Star League, so like 2570-ish probably. But like I said, when you start being able to go like, that mech's 500 years older, and I can compare it to it. And we're talking about Inner Sphere versus Flame. It's not a good sign. There are very few 95s that really stand out. 95 Hunter it's so close to that. It's almost 100. Guys, it's almost 100. But it doesn't have the oomph that a 100 tonner will. That 100 tonner is going to have more armor. It's going to have at least comparable firepower and mobility most of the time. So, it's just more. Case in point, the King Crab, which is just absolutely disgusting. It's packing 2 autocannon 20s and often a Lerm 15 for 5 more tons. Yeah, sure, it's slower, but it's going to kill whatever it shoots at. You don't want to get near it, and you can't stay too far away. It's got something for everyone. Yeah, like I said, that's a great example right there. It's the King Crab. It's only 5 more tons. That's kind of where the problem all the 95ers end up in my opinion, is it's too close to the next step up without a lot of the advantages. Now, there are some that do stand out, like the Cyclops. The Cyclops has a unique gimmick in that it is a really just dominant commander's mech. And the reason why so many commanders take the Cyclops is it actually has abilities where it can relay its targeting data and sensor enhancements to other mechs on the battlefield. That is a huge, huge advantage that you can't really overstate. Just really just makes the Cyclops just, wow, that's useful. The Cyclops, unfortunately, is also really light in armor, but you can work around it. You can totally work around it. But there are some mechs that are just flat out better than others also in this franchise. For example, the Stalker is ton for ton, even in a post-clan invasion, where you have to bring clan mechs into the debate, is still ridiculous. It is still insane. It still packs a ton of firepower. It has tons of fun for everyone. It is an absolutely horrendously powerful gun platform at 85 tons. It has more firepower than some direwolves. It's a really powerful mech. And they're not that expensive to field. There's that light. So, yeah, like I said, there's some mechs that are better than others. The Executioner is not one of those. It's just not that great of a weapons platform, in my opinion. I'm not a fan. And then, because it's going to tell me what works and doesn't work when it goes in Artillery War. So far, I am learning that the dark paint that I have laid down is ridiculously overpowering everything else under overlap. So, it's kind of wanted this kind of icy blue kind of look, and we're not getting it now. Don't get me wrong, it doesn't look bad, it's just not what I wanted. like I said, there's some really good mechs. The lore itself for BattleTech, Game of Thrones thinks it's got elaborate lore, that it's full of political intrigue. It does not have shit on BattleTech, guys. Uh, if you want a setting that is really diverse, has some serious political intrigue going on in it, BattleTech is definitely something that you're going to want to check out. There is so much going on behind the scenes, during the scenes, so many maneuvers, so much backstabbing, so many little machinations going on. It is a fascinating universe to read into. Highly recommended. And it doesn't fool around. Like, I mean, it's pretty diverse. BattleTech has got a lot of really cool shit. You guys really should check it out. It's great. I absolutely adore it, guys. I have since pretty much since Genesis and SNES console games. And then I kind of got into the books, and I'm getting pretty much all of the games at one point or another, between consoles and PC. And it's just been a fun ride, all the way through. And they don't hate their fans. I cannot stress this enough. God, it's so nice. Like, I mentioned a little bit about the tournament stuff earlier. So, if you go to a BattleTech event, and these guys are obviously official ones, but if my 3D print stuff when it gets here, I show up with that because finding some of the mechs is really hard anyway on a good day. And now that the franchise is really starting to take off again, damn near impossible. But even before then, even when you could get this stuff regularly, Catalyst and BattleTech, like, they're very much like, bro, you had to 3D print your models, but you want to... God damn this thing. Fuck this thing. Seriously. I'm right here. Ah! Is that better? God damn, I should not have the mic this close. Maybe it's dying. Because I used to be able to be 2 feet away from it, and it was just fine. Well, anyway, so you show up to their event, you have 3D printed models, you want to know what they say to you? Dude, that's cool. That's cool. Play on, Garth. You show up to a Games Workshop event with a 3D print anything, hell, if you don't have their paint half the time, they kind of give you a cross-eyed look. Which is hilarious considering they have some of the shittiest paint pots ever. The reason why we're using GW paint right now is just because I didn't quite have another... I'm working up to the shade I want. It's a stepping stone along the way. But anyway, so G-Dubs is like really super hostile to their fans as far as like the modeling goes, painting. They tend to also do the whole, oh yeah, we don't like the fast trash, and then they continue to dog whistle for them. Or they go, oh, guys, it's just satire, and then turn around and glorify the Space Marines anyway. But yeah, like, it's such a unique universe. It's so fun to play in. It's so fun to mess around with. And the models themselves, like, the battle mechs themselves, especially now, MechWarrior Online and PGI did this franchise a huge, it's huge service to this community in this game. Because the mech redesigns that Alex did when he came to work for PGI really pretty much saved the franchise. Now we went from the mechs looking kind of goofy to they look badass. Some of the mechs before didn't need much work, like the Timberwolf behind me there didn't need much changing. The Battlemaster needed a lot of work, and now it's so boss. It is pretty boss. It's never just, yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's really hard to defend being in that part of the hobby space because of it. It is getting better. The fan base is getting cleared out and, you know, de-smoked, but it's hard. It's going to be an ongoing thing for a long time over there, 40K. It's going to take a hot minute. I just don't know if I have the energy. But anyway, so Battletech here. They've got such a huge shot in the arm with those mech redesigns. And the fact that we've always, like, they've always been super cool to the fans. Like, they're like, we love that you guys love this franchise. We love seeing you guys get creative with the property. They know the fan base. They know that everyone loves the things that they love. And they're not hostile about it. Like they're just like, yeah, we'll throw this in here. Hell, there's a moon with cat girls on it. It dates back to like the 80s. And they don't piss on everybody like to get there. Like they're just like, yeah, this is how it's going to be. This is cool. And we love what you guys are doing with this. Let's make this a thing. And I would love to buy more of the models. It's hard. If there's a mech set that you want and everyone else likes it, it's hard to buy the official models because they're always sold out. And that sucks. Obviously, for obvious reasons. Hey, I want my stuff. But at the same time, it's a luxury problem to have, because a few years ago that wasn't necessarily the case. But yeah, this is a really great franchise. It is so deep on the lore. It's complicated. It's convoluted. They had a cartoon. So another thing too that they do is they don't necessarily have to rent content on not canon. So back in the, I'd say early to mid 90s, they had a cartoon, a BattleTech cartoon, because it was the height of make cartoons to sell for action figures, right? And they had this, and this cartoon was bad. I mean, it's bad, guys. So what do the designers do? A few, I don't know, whenever they finally decide it shouldn't be canon. It's an in-universe propaganda piece. It is literally an in-universe joke. Because it's so far removed from what reality has to be. For the situation that happened in that show. that they're like, no, no, this is not canon, like, at all. At all. This is not canon. This was a propaganda film made during the invasion. And I'm like, that is a really brilliant way to retcon your shit. Um, it is. It's just absolute genius. But yeah, you can do things like that. There's a 40K book that I read once upon a time. I wonder if this is why. I wonder if it's the music thing is too high, maybe. That's probably it. Um, but yeah, like there's all kinds of fun ways to retcon, and they do them. Okay, so our executioner here. Like I say, we've added that Temple Guard blue to it. Zeh. Oh shit! Oh shit! We're being raided. Hey, how's it going, Nymphy? How was your stream? How are you guys doing tonight? Hope everyone's doing well. We're shooting the shit and painting some crap ass Fatborn freak trash mechs tonight. We're working a little bit on some BattleTech and just enjoying our everyone's company and listening to some epic music in the background while we go. Nice, nice. Well, I am working on a little something here, off and on. I'll toast one for you. Happy Christmas Eve, everybody. That's along for the ride. That's gonna be, but yeah, BattleTech is a great franchise, guys. Highly recommend it. Um, make sushi, drink wine, and watch movies. Nice. That's a really good Friday night. That is a good Friday night right there, guys. No running out. No doing crazy shit. No making the poor people working on Christmas Eve's lives absolutely miserable. Um, that's great right there, guys. That is a role model. That's some role model shit right there, guys. Don't people working the lives any worse. Always do a seafood dinner. Nice. Um, but yeah, so we're talking up a little bit about that. So anyone that has any questions, so essentially, I guess I could talk about a little bit about the clans. Um, since we're working on some Vatborn trash. I mean, clan mechs tonight. Um, so the clans are a faction that broke away from the inner sphere in the universe. I guess it would be the Exodus was a good like 300 or 400 years minimum from the current timeline. Um, just completely just jump out. The inner sphere becomes just such a shithole. A war-torn, just absolute garbage fire. That the leader of the SLDF, which is the Starleague Defense Force, just ups and just like, you know what? There's no way that this is going to end well. I'm just going to take the Starleague Defense Force, and we're going to run off into just the great unknown of space. And hopefully you guys sort this out without just genociding each other. Aw, thank you. We love you too. So they set out. into deep space. They're gone for hundreds of years. In their exodus, they recreate or they create a new society that it is essentially a warrior cult. The original founder, he dies, and the society evolves or devolves depending on how you're going to look at this, and becomes a warrior society. And they have a whole limited. They're all about limited scale warfare. They have like organized duels to settle wars. A war could literally be waged between two parties with a single battle mech, or a single elemental, or entire companies, or any points between, but each force has a certain amount that they agree to, that they are going to field. And they do bids. And this is because out in the great unknown, there's extremely limited resources. So they eventually create this, warrior culture society based off of this. It's a caste system too. Eventually, it gives rise to genetically augmented individuals. People stop being born in a lot of cases in the warrior castes the natural way, and they call. I think they're called the Trueborn. Yeah, they're called the Trueborn, the Vatborn freaks. They call the rest of us Freebirth, and it is not a complimentary term. So anyway, so they do their thing, and eventually their goal is to make their way back to the Inner Sphere and to take it over. The Inner Sphere is essentially us and like a huge cluster of stars beyond us. Their goal is to eventually come back, and because we're too stupid to take care of ourselves, and their whole mission statement is to handle the business when they come back and take over. So eventually they come back to the Inner Sphere, which is a just Civil War happy war crime, to the point where technology stagnates heavily in the Inner Sphere after Kerensky leaves. Double heat sinks get lost. Well, I am way off the marker. Okay, so advanced cooling for the mechs gets worse. They lose like XL engines. Mech designs, it's not uncommon for battle mechs to be fielded for several hundred years. And, it's just generally not a good time. Genuinely just not to be in the Inner Sphere. Even after the Succession Wars are over, it's still not a great place to be. He's coming along decent. I might be able to do something with this. I don't know. I think the next mech we're going to do that dark blue, and we're going to do some white. I think that's what we're going to go with. We're going to do some dark blue and white on the next mech. So I'm not digging this one. Something about it just me. I don't know. So anyway, so like I said, Nicholas Kerensky, Nicholas is the one that founds essentially what becomes the clans. They eventually reinvade the Inner Sphere and shocks the Inner Sphere, because while the Inner Sphere has been stagnant this whole time, the clans did not stagnate nearly as far. They have much better guns, much better armor, much better engines. Pretty much the worst case on a tech curve race, right? And it just can't fill the numbers. Even if their industrial base was closer to the front lines, they cannot fill the numbers the Inner Sphere does. And the Inner Sphere eventually realizes that. But up until that point, it pretty much comes down to Tukia being a Hail Mary of Hail Marys done by Comstar. And as much as I give Comstar, I will say that, They were the good guys for once. And, they stopped the clan invasion for 10 years. The Inner Sphere had a chance to catch up, and boy, did they. And then by that point, it was definitely not worth invading anymore. You know, the Inner Sphere figured out, one, how to wage the war effectively against a society who was hyper-extended supply lines. Can't fight back effectively. You know, when your tank factory is, you know, a hop, skip, and a jump away, and your opponent's tank factory is, you know, on Mars, it's pretty easy to see who's going to win a future engagement. Especially when the tanks then become comparable in tech. The reason I pick battle tanks as an example is because that's essentially the role mechs take in this setting. They do have tanks in BattleTech, actually. And some of those tanks can get really scary really fast if you know what you're doing. Which, again, our very first BattleTech game is going to be sometime in the new year. We are going to set up a game, a Timberwolf, a single Timberwolf, so this guy, against as many battle tanks as it takes to pop him. So that's our very first BattleTech session. It's going to be. We're going to do a recorded stream. We're not going to do it live. That way, you guys don't have to put up with us constantly, because it will be constant, searching the rules and trying to figure out what the hell we're doing. And y'all will get to see that, assuming that Tabletop Simulator also cooperates and gives us some good BattleTech stuff. If that happens, then, like I said, you guys will get to see that. Oh, this is actually starting to look a little bit better than I thought it was. I think it's going to work out, guys. We're going to have to add some white in there now, but I'm liking where it's going. I'm liking the idea now. Plus, it is an executioner. Yeah, and there is going to be a learning process. We will leave some of that intact for you guys. Once we get to a point where we can actually start playing the game decently, at least enough that we can kind of keep a game flow going. Like, that's kind of the biggie. We're just going to try to learn to get to a point where we have a game flow that coherent, followable, watchful. We're going to go for that. And you guys will get to be along for all of that, right? But yeah, so that's our first plan. That is our first planned game, is we're going to see what it takes to actually kill a mech without other mechs. And that's essentially what we're going to build our understanding of the game rules and stuff off of, is does this work? Does this not work? Does this work? What does it take? What do we have to do to make this a good thing? To make this fightable? Let's get some white. Like I said, we're gonna have a nice little learning experience with it. You guys are gonna be along for a good chunk of that ride, and we're gonna have a good time. I think you guys are gonna enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy doing it, and it's funny because I went looking around on Google and legit could not find any answer on that. So I don't think anyone's, like, the game is small enough, I think, that the really hardcore math, I know it's been done, Because there's always that guy that just wants to win at all costs. But as far as documenting it goes, I haven't seen it. So we're going to be doing some documentation that I don't think is really in the community. I think we're in a position to provide some really neat stuff for you guys. So, for those of you that want to learn, you're going to learn right along with us, and we're going to kind of figure out the nuts and bolts of what works and what doesn't work in BattleTech, and how does the game work. And then we're going to start making narrative campaigns and special fights, and then, you know, just good old just normal matches, and, you know, just having fun with it. But it's funny because, like, the math, I know the murder math has been done. Somebody has surely done this kind of murder math before in BTech. But it's not on the first page of Google, it's not on the second page, it's not on the third. So, guys, we're gonna be able to provide you with answers to questions for those of you that are BattleTech veteran players that you probably didn't know you had. We're going to do that. We are totally going to do that. We are going to be the people to go to for the answers to your dumbest questions, like how many tanks does it take? How many urban mechs does it take? And, you know, if the Timberwolf runs itself dry of ammunition and, you know, the tanks just eventually overwhelm it to the point that the lasers can no longer keep up, then that is still a W. Yeah, we're going to find out the exact limits. We're going to learn how to play. And my personal theory, and this is just my bullshit theory, this is not the experienced player of any sort. This is just based off my previous experience with tabletop RPGs, tabletop war games in general. He, with the superior numbers for a given value, is probably going to be the one that comes out on top. RPGs is a little bit different because the game is, you know, specifically geared for the heroes to win. But anything that is competitive, any game that is remotely designed to be competitive, usually it will favor the mass spam of lesser units. Usually. Whatever the most points-effective, cost-effective unit is generally the one that's going to come out on top. I'm curious to see what they do to mitigate that. Because I'll tell you right now, if we do like a bunch of Demolisher tanks, I think that's what they're called, with the double AC-20s. It's essentially kind of like that, yeah. You know, a Zerg Rush is really powerful if you don't know how to, you know, micromanage and cope. You don't know how to use your workers for defense, then the Zerg Rush is going to beat you every time. But if you know that trick, it's easy to beat. The question is, does that defense strategy apply with a Timberwolf? I don't think it will. I think that what's going to happen, now it's still going to inflict some serious losses on the tanks. Whatever the objective is on the map, it's going to be really difficult to hold it afterwards. But the tanks are going to just simply overcome the Timberwolf through numbers. They're going to start, once the Timberwolf starts losing weapons on the damage tables, I think that's going to be ball game for the Timberwolf. I honestly think that's going to be the ball game for him. I don't think he's going to hold up very well after that. Like, I think it's going to maul the tanks right up until the missile launchers go. Once one of the missile launchers goes, that's 15 damage that it can't do anymore. Once it takes off, if it's armed with like an autocannon, once the autocannon arm is gone, then it can't shoot that autocannon anymore. So it's just, eventually there's going to hit a tipping point where the Timberwolf's doing fine. This is my personal theory. Like I said, I am no expert. But I think what's going to happen in this experiment is the Timberwolf is going to do really well right up until it loses one or two primary weapon systems. And then it's just going to fall to pieces. Its ability to fight back is going to exponentially get worse. Whereas the tanks, on paper at least, might have a shot of continuing fighting back. There's going to be a lot of them. It's that deal where the tank is going to lose all of its life, sure, probably. I don't think tanks can lose their guns as easily as a mech can. So, you know, but they die pretty easy. I think that's going to be how that shapes. I think we're looking at that. Classics, it's fine right up until it isn't, and then holy shit, it just goes to pieces. I think that's what's going to happen with the and I think it'll probably happen, if not at the battle value of the Timberwolf, within 10%. So, at or above by about 10%. I think the Timberwolf will be fine, and then it's just going to just fall to pieces. Which will be really cool cinematically to think about. I'm totally looking forward to that. No, it's not bad. It's not bad. Considering I am not a fan of this mech to start with, but it does look pretty boss, so I'm going to readjust the focus on this. Focus, fuck. Light intensity a little bit. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Honestly, that's better than I thought it was going to look. So, we're going to go ahead and continue this paint scheme on to the next battle mech. Yeah, if you did like a bunch of double AC-20 tanks, and then a couple Lerm carriers for its fire support, I honestly don't see, I don't see how the Timby is going to fare well after that. So this mech, I know nothing about. I should probably actually get the cardboard. That is a... Okay. That mech is called a mongrel. Which is funny because it looks so good. This might be my favorite looking clan mech. Holy shit. This thing looks really boss. I love the Timberwolf, but this thing's got something just wow all about him. Really digging this mongrel here. We're going to work on this mongrel. Get some base in there. But yeah, I firmly believe that that's how this is going to shake out. The poor Timby is just not going to hack it after a while. It's just going to get its ass blown in. Once it loses, I'm going to say once it loses the first missile launcher, it's pretty much a done deal. That is your uneducated Battletech pleb right there. As soon as that Timberwolf loses the missile launcher to those tanks, that fight's done. And it's going to really go badly. And we're going to do a few battles. We're going to range it from everything from the tank pilot who can barely figure out where the clutch is to the most hardened veteran tank pilots, because there are pilot skills in Battletech, and that makes a big difference. We're going to change various tank types out. Like I said, I might try, we might try some kind of like big boy gunslinger with the big AC-20 with some Lerm carriers for one of the fights. I just totally went with the wrong paint. Whoopsie. So, I think, like I said, I'm just going to throw that out there. It's going to be when that missile launcher goes. Suddenly the Timberwolf's long range advantage is going to really be feeling the pain. Once that happens, it's on. It's on like Donkey Kong. Because the Lerm carriers don't have to be in line of sight, the LRM tanks. I need to check something. Oh, this is going to get me copyright struck. I can feel it. Damn it. Damn. Well, that didn't fix it, boys. Didn't fix it. I've got a crackle. Some weird-ass distortion going on that happens now and then. It just started, and I don't know whether it's the sound card yet, or... And it could be the sound card. This shit don't last forever. And it's an Ossus part. Shots fired by Mev. Sound card goes bad after 5 years. I can see it. I won't know until I test it with my Xbox. Once I test it with the Xbox, we'll know for sure. But yeah, we're gonna have a good time with these tests. And why the Timberwolf first? Because it is literally, arguably, the most powerful clan mech going, and it is probably one of the best mechs, lore-wise, per ton that you could ever ask for. Is 75 tons of clan tech, oh my god, barbecue. So I'm like, let's test with the face of the franchise, Timberwolf. See how she handles up to tank spam. Like I said, my guess is going to be the missile arms, the missile's gone. Yeah. I would bet it's that sound card. Almost bet money on it. So I did dust the hell out of this receiver today. I just kind of get that nice dark blue on here. Just kind of washing it on, to be honest. Mongrel looks really cool. I don't know anything about it as a mech. I know next to nothing about it. Once you start getting out of the ones that pop up a lot in the video games, I don't know them as much. There's a few that I know, like the Cauldronborn, the Champion. The Champion does pop up now in the last two most recent mech games. Okay, that is going better over there. I don't know, chat. I don't know. Now that I know it's not fixed, that makes me a little irritated. No, it ain't the speakers. It ain't the connection to them. Because it does it on all of them. Now, if the receiver is getting... If the sound card is sending... I'm going to do something kind of similar to what we just did. Okay, let's... for that to dry a hot second. Something similar-ish. We're probably going to do a... That didn't turn out very bad at all. And that needs some more detail work, but it didn't turn out bad. So I'm going to do something kind of similar to that. We're going to kind of go with like a white that we can add into it. Why did that fuck up again? Static and fuzz. Alright, so once this dries a little bit more, because it's still too wet to do anything else with. But yeah, we're I like that mech. call it a mongrel. Inner Sphere calls it a Grendel, which is much cooler. 45 tons, so it's barely a medium. She's barely a medium, chat. Barely. Barely a medium. Range far afield. It has... Might do a driver reinstall on my sound card at some point, but that's future Aaron Croft. So this guy is ready-ish. So let's break out my Deets brush. Let's go ahead and get the whites on here. I think that's the This thing is a 45 tonner, huh? Which means it's the light end of medium. Well, I guess it'd be, yeah, it's still on the light-ish end of medium mech. So, light mechs end at 35. 40 is where medium starts. So yeah, this is a lighter medium. This medium ends. Well, there's also a couple other colors in there. We added some ice blue and some other stuff on some of them other parts. And I'm not sure how I feel about them yet, to be honest. I think we might just do like a kind of a basic bitch. White and blue. Trying to get the paint on the goodies. Damn, I popped the water bottle. I kind of like the sea green though. But we're gonna add some metallic blue to this at some point. I don't know when. Text Talks Battletech joke.
By the way, guys, if you want to watch a really wholesome
Battletech streamer or lore guy,
who seems to be really just a legitimately wholesome guy,
Text Talks Battletech is a really good resource to learn from. They do a lot of research. They put a lot of love into their videos, and he doesn't update a lot. Doesn't do it quickly. YouTube is not his source of revenue, and pretty much whenever you donate to him, he's going to use that money to give to charities. Really great guy as far as I can tell. Yeah, Text Talks Battletech. You want a really good YouTube lore guy. Who's also got a voice that sounds like it's been drowned in whiskey. That is your man. He's really good at what he does. I would recommend. He did get into one little smidge of controversy, but it seems that he genuinely didn't realize who he was dealing with, and that was when he did a vid with Arch. Didn't seem to know who that was until after the fact. Really good guy, though. Seems to be a really good guy. Always has done the charity work. And he has a legitimate love for the franchise. He's not in it for the grift. Big show. Really enjoy the guy's content. Yeah, you guys have your quote unquote endorsement from me like that. And I'm hardly the best painter in the world. Mechs, by the way, are deceptively hard to paint. The dragons, that seems to be a lot easier, along with people. I don't know why. So far, anyway, I'm kind of digging where this Grendel. Because around here we use Inner Sphere names, baby. Inner Sphere for life. Big Inner Sphere fan over here. Yeah. That's why we get the last of the rum in the glass out with the tea. Alright. That's not bad tea, though. By the way, I managed to... so at one point I picked up like 1.2 pounds, and then I lost like 6. So I lost like 5 pounds over the last week and a half. Feeling pretty good on that. Felt pretty good about that. That's all going to go right out the window here, in, the next tomorrow, day after, and the day after that. Honestly, as far as I can tell, I don't know. I did eat like garbage. I did do a little bit more in the way of workouts, so maybe the extra lifting did the job, but I don't know. I ate like garbage. That week I gained that pound, I ate like trash, and then I had a week where I didn't eat like trash and still worked out, so maybe that's what happened. And the fuel got burnt. It's such a weird spot for this camera to be in. I don't like it being there anymore. Alright, so we're gonna... I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I want it centered. There we go. There we go. We're centered now. Alright, so now I can bring the executioner back over, let you guys look at it. Yeah, he turned out pretty well, honestly. I'm kind of digging it. Yeah, Sapphire Dragon Battlefield Salvage. Yes, this is a thing. So the executioner turned out well. We're gonna start on him now, and we'll do something with the gun barrel, even if I just black it out. Let's get this blue. All right, so. We're gonna skip out on the Citadel paint this time. We're gonna go straight for the good stuff. We're not gonna use that GW paint again tonight. I every time I use that shit, I get so disappointed. I have yet to have it turn out and feel like I accomplished anything when I use it. Like the craft store paint's so much better. It is craft store paint. It's not top tier paint by any means. This is looking good. Starting to look like a mech again. Alright, so one of the things I really love about BattleTech in particular, one, it's a much smaller scale game than some of the other war games out there. Like the minis we have right now that are on this table is enough for 2 players to sit down and have a 1 hour to an hour and a half long game once everybody knows what they're doing. That's cool. And it's cheap. Like, you know, $50, you're done. I went a little spendy today, but I'm getting a lot of stuff. And that'll be fun when it gets here, because that will be my Sapphire Dragons merc company. In their, you know, original Wave 1 form, anyway. So, essentially, I'm going to have what I call Wave 1, Wave 2. Wave 1 is, they're in the periphery. They luck out and pop a couple of clan mechs. They take them for salvage. You know, they think they're just pirates that stumbled on some lost tech, right? And then they realize that this is not just some lucky pirate. They stumble on it the hard way. The full might of
detachment, and they're talking about, shit like batch halls and flaming bondsmen. And they're like, what the hell is that? And then they realize that the mechs that they're in are horrendously outclassed by what the clans are fielding. And that's something that you can only get in BattleTech. You can totally make that an event pretty easily in a BattleTech campaign. Not to spend my night shitting on Warhammer, but man, is it a financial investment just to have one army, let alone multiples. It's so much. It's too much. It costs too much. The company itself is toxic as fuck, so. But yeah, we're bebopping along here. We're having a nice little mech collection. We've got a nice, really nice battle mech here, or omni mech. Damn, that's gonna look nice when it's done. Okay, so let's clean this brush up a little bit. Get some of this blue off of it so I can get that white back out. There we go. There we go. That's gonna be clean. It's gonna be nice and clean when we get that one rinsed out. Some water off of there. No, it's on. There it goes. So we just gotta whiten this up. The ice blue looks cool, but it's supposed to be white right there because we have a paler blue next. But yeah, so essentially, story-wise, this is my Merc company's lucky salvage. And then whenever we get more clan mechs, and I get my scrap bin. So I bought, one of the things I bought today was from a 3D printer guy. And he just had a whole bunch of mechs that he called the scrap bin because they were defective on their prints. I'm going to use them as battle damage mechs. I think that's going to be really interesting. And those are essentially the mechs that they got their ass kicked as they're fleeing to try to get back to their source space. They lose a bunch of mechs. They take a lot of damage on a lot of other mechs in the Merc company. And they're just trying to get back home when they manage to run into the food kind of thing. And those are going to be fun. So we're going to be doing battle damage for the first time. And then we can come back later to these guys and start adding the same effects once we figure out how to do that. I don't really have like a super plan. Also, yeah, there we go. That looks really nice.
is a really, like, just a fun little model. There's, like, so many little things with it that are just really cool. I really personally like this model a lot. Alright, so it's pretty much there, I think. Yeah, I'm digging this ice blue, blue and white kind of paint scheme. And since they are FRR based, we're going to add a dash of yellow in eventually. Yeah, we're going to add some yellow in as our final color once all these are a little drier, so we don't create another green. And let's go ahead and move up to the Nova. So this is also one of my favorite mechs in all of BattleTech and MechWarrior, the infamous Nova. So what makes this thing so special? It is a walking gun platform. This thing is probably the most heavily armed mech as far as pure lasers of any mech in BattleTech. Certainly in the Clan Invasion era. You name it, it's got it for lasers, and it has a ton of them. Those fists, that's all lasers. All lasers. It runs hot as the sun. But by God, does it not beat? Can it not fry something? Really fun. Really fun. I legitimately love this map. So what we're gonna do? That doesn't help. Then I'll take sound card out and clean it. That doesn't help. We're gonna test on the Xbox. Fine, y'all might not see me. We'll find out. I'll have it sorted out. Yeah. So, anyway, this is one of the cooler mechs, in my opinion, is by far the Nova. It's just walking death machine. It's so cool. Yeah, little death machines. In my opinion, the clans should have made more Novas, and I don't know what's Intersphere name. Just so anyone knows, this is one of the few that I don't know her Intersphere name. But this thing, this could have made a huge difference if there had been more of these and less. They are all piloted. So one of the big things about this setting is the pilots essentially kind of become seen as the knights, or kind of like the World War I aircraft pilots of their day, where there's a very romanticized warrior view about them. They're like the kings of the battlefield. They're kind of viewed the way that, you know, you look at a chivalric ideal knight. And that's kind of the hype they make for themselves, honestly. And rightly so, because in this setting, the be-all, end-all of just absolute battlefield prowess is the mech. And the mech is what changes warfare in BattleTech. It is the ultimate game changer. Which I am so far horrible on trying to get the stove on camera for you guys. But yeah, they're all piloted. And their pilots are held to a ludicrously high view. Even mercenaries, outside of Kurita, in the case of mercenaries, mercenaries even command a great deal of respect. Mercenary mech pilots. Tanks in this are they're not as mobile. You know, the whole thing with the battle mech and why it takes over is myomer muscle basically allows it to move like a living thing. Like, these things don't stagger and just kind of clod along. These things, they can punch, they can kick, they can jump, they can crawl, they can climb. So they're incredibly capable over a myriad of terrain that even tracked vehicles really would struggle on. And that makes them just really just excellent. Then there's the armor. An M1 Abrams is like its main battery. Pretty much, even on the lightest of mechs, would laugh it off. Like a 25-ton mech would pretty much bounce off the armor of. To give you an idea. And myomer muscle is so strong that it allows you to just really just throw on the tonnage for these super weapons. Yeah, an M1 Abrams will just be absolutely laughed at by a mech, as it rightly should. You know, these are set in the year, 2060, 2280, 2290 plus kind of things. But yeah, like the tank just can't compete in this, because one, you can literally just step on a tank and pop them. That is very much a thing that you can do in BattleTech. It's just tank stomps. They are extremely mobile because they can get over almost any terrain. And then you can add what they call jump jets, which, yeah, jump jets will let the thing practically fly for a hot second. And the more of them you add, the better it is at the better it is at it. And they can get pretty vertical, which also leads to another thing that a mech can do, which is, jump in the air and then land with its feet down towards something. There is actually a mech explicitly designed for this. It is called the Highlander. It is not the prettiest girl at the dance, but she is, oh my. The Highlander is scary. It is 95 tons. It has a gimmick. A very powerful gimmick where it can do a death from above. If y'all have heard that meme, this is the franchise it came from. So, let's say our Nova here, because he has jump jets. Nova has jump jets. Almost all of them do. He can do this. Just land feet down into that poor adder's head. The Highlander is built explicitly to be able to do this without damaging its legs. And it is called a death from above. The Highlander jumps up, basically just buries its feet into whatever it is landing on, and it's a 95-ton mech doing it. It takes a big old boy to not just get popped by a Highlander death from aboving you. Obviously, the gimmick does have its limitations. You do still have to get pretty close. They can shoot you the whole time while you're trying to DFA. It's not, but it is a tactical option that the Highlander was designed to have. One of my personal favorites, just for the DFA. Big fan of DFA. That looks really good. So we're going to let that dry. Let's get our super dark back out. Just refill a little bit and start on our Timby. A little drop of water in all the paints just to kind of keep them hydrated. But yeah, you guys will, as I expand my collection, I intend on using stuff like that. You guys, if we ever get a really good setup going, and I can convince one of my local friends to play Battletech with me on camera, I fully intend on bringing these guys out to tabletop play. And we'll have a good old time just farting around on Battletech. Doing stuff that, you know, is just silly. And like I said, our very first game is going to be filled with stuff like that. We're going to be, you know, how many tanks does it take to kill a Timberwolf? How many, what all can a Highlander DFA successfully? Can it just DFA without anything else to soften up the targets first? We're going to be doing stuff like that. Just experiments after experiment after experiment. Until we figure out exactly what works in the rules, what doesn't. And we're going to learn how to do that together. I'm looking forward to the opportunity myself. Because this is a great franchise. This is an absolutely stellar franchise that doesn't get near the love that it deserves. Yeah, you guys are welcome to come along for the ride anytime. I'm not the best painter in the world. The stuff I am good at painting, I am good at. Like, I can do fur really well. I can do dragons really well. I can do humans really well. Mechs is kind of a new thing for me, but we'll figure it out. I love these little kits, though. I love these little kits. I am also looking forward to seeing the printed ones that I bought and how they compare, because I will be getting some of the printed ones of mechs I already own as well. Like, I'd love to have another Mad Cat, which, you know, Timberwolf, Mad Cat, same thing. Love to have a second one. In the ones that I see on Etsy are more MechWarrior Online style than they are this, which is, you know, Catalyst Games' interpretation of... Alex did work for both Piranha and Catalyst. And man, just... what a lucky break for the franchise, man. These look so much better. Like, when I grew up, when I was a kid, so growing up, roll the clock back to Baby Mav, about Let's roll the clock back to baby Mav days. We'll make Mav 15, so we'll roll it back a good 20 years. The models for BattleTech were so trash. They were so trash. And, you know, the PC games made the stuff look better. And, you know, PC gaming at the time wasn't nearly what it is now. But yeah, like, everything was so just garbagey that, as you know, I was like, man, this looks stupid. Outside of certain mechs, like the Timberwolf and a handful of others, I really wasn't that big on the franchise outside of the video games because the models were just terrible. Ever since Catalyst Games got a hold of the franchise, in particular, though, it's been just so lovely. And I've been jonesing for these models, and now I'm finally able to start getting them because, you know, they're more available now. The initial... This is a franchise that's been resurging now for a good couple of years now. Honestly, like, we honestly have the pandemic to thank for a lot of this, because the supply chains for, like, the computer end of things wasn't such dog shit. I firmly believe that a lot of the tabletop stuff, like this, D&D, you know, a lot of that stuff wouldn't have quite the impact that it's got going now. Because everyone got stuck at home. And what do? So this whole box would cost you about $50. That is 1, 2, 3, 4 mechs, 5 mechs, and 2 elementals in this case. So anywhere from like 50 to 60 for a decent amount of mechs. And like I said, what we have right now, this is enough for 2 players to play for about an hour. Just about an hour-long game, which is cool. And it varies, because, like, you know, you can get some 3D print stuff, and, you know, just buy the mechs that you really, really want a model for. And then just, you know, the hell with the rest, I'll just use cardboard cutouts, which they, by the way, come with. There are more cutouts in that box. I have a bunch of cutouts in that box that these came in. So you can have things like your tanks, your other mechs. I think it's even got quick start rules in there. So it's all pretty much self-contained. There's enough in there that you can learn how to play BattleTech. And it's an easy... It's an approachable franchise to get into. Warhammer, and this goes for Age of Sigmar or 40K, that is not something you do unless you've established that you already love either the setting, the models, or you love the hobbying side. It is not something that I recommend people start dead cold on, because the amount of money that goes into a single army is cost prohibitive. And it's hard. Because you don't, like, obviously, like, everyone go, oh yeah, just pick Space Marines. Anyone will play Space Marines and can find Space Marines they like. And that's true. But if everyone played Space Marines, that'd be boring as shit. Why quit going to, you know, game stores? I got tired of playing against, you know, 5 different Marine armies every other weekend. Where's the fun in that? So, let me drink a little bit here. But yeah, you guys, there's a lot in the setting that this is a very approachable hobby compared to Warhammer by far. This is way more approachable. The setting's great. And for the most part, there's a lot less toxicity in the fan base. Hmm. But yeah, there's just it's a great little franchise to get into. It's got something for everybody. Guarantee you will find something that is cool for you in this franchise. There's a fair bit of representation too. If you're needing, you need that. It's got a lot of it in there. Always has, right out of the gate from the '80s on. Absolute joy, I will say. And like I said, there's a lot of deep lore. If you want to get into some deep Game of Thrones stuff or lore that'll make Game of Thrones blush with envy, man, BattleTech's got it. Uh, and it usually makes a lot more sense than a lot of the competition's own lore. It's gonna be a little bit harder to do, I think, just because there's a lot of little segments here. I don't know for sure what's gonna be what yet. We're just gonna kind of wing it. But to give you an idea of like if you want to get like the 3D print models that are in about this scale, those will run you about $6 to $7 a mech generally. Let's be a little conservative on the wrong end. Let's go 6 to 10. Anywhere in the $6 to $10 range per mech if you want to get the 3D printed stuff. That's not too bad. You get about 5 of those, you got a lance, you're done. And you can legit play a pretty much more or less full-scale game with that little investment. You're not going to stop there because, it's kind of like buying D&D dice. I won't lie. I have a very big collector problem. I mean, you guys can see a little bit of the RPG book collection in the back. I have a really, really bad collector syndrome. I have 14 sets of D&D dice that I will never remotely need. Once I get into something like this, I start looking at things like mechs, and I start, the treasure goblin comes out, and I'm like, I need this. I need this. I love collecting things. In this case, it combines two things I like to do. I like being a no-talent hack artist, and I love to collect things. And this literally combines two of those things. So no, this is not going to be the end of my collection. I already have my second merch company planned out. I'm not even finished the Sapphire Dragons yet, and I'm already planning out my second merch company and what they're going to have. How is it different than, how are the Nemean Panthers different than the Sapphire Dragons? Nemean Panthers, they're very much the poverty franchise. They are much like my real sports team, the Carolina Panthers, right? They're very much the poverty. They have, a heavy reliance on lighter mechs, crappier guns, uh, tanks, infantry. Uh, they have a lot more light mechs. Uh, they're not pushing the tonnage at all. They don't push the tonnage like the Sapphire Dragons do because they can't afford to. Um, the Sapphire Dragons are all but a state-sponsored mercenary company. The FRR is like, yeah, we need this dead, and they're like, okay, and here's your payment, and here's your extra equipment if you need it. That's what the Sapphire Dragons are. And I think that'll make for an interesting dynamic. Having two very different factions like that is going to let me um, it's going to let us have a very different play style. And then, I'm eventually going to have just random jobbers. Like, I might have some stuff that's painted up in, like, Davion colors, or, Kurita, or, Ghost Bear, Wolf, or, well, probably not Ghost Bear, because Ghost Bear becomes, pretty bro later on. They merge with the FRR. Which again, that's pretty much, again, that'd be, that means they're working, the Sapphire Dragons are eventually going to be working heavily with them. But Jade Falcon, or, Clan Wolf, or Smoke Jaguar, oh yeah, I'm going to have some clan mechs painted up like those. And some clan stuff painted up like them. It'll give me more things to make look cool on a shelf whenever I get my shelving stuff done. I might have to take a quick bio break here. That you can't eat 13-inch cheesesteak without problems, right? Okay, so we're gonna let that dry for a minute anyway, so I can kind of figure out where we're going with him. Let y'all kind of just take a gander at where we're going with him, and I'll be right back, chat. Hey, what's going on? Will I get a spammer? I don't know what you were doing. Okay. So anyway, guys, we have returned. Let's get some sky blue on there. Let's get a little bit of that coastal Carolina blue. I think that's what it says, right? Coastal blue, Carolina blue. Yeah, I couldn't see either. Lily came back and just saw the message. Hope everyone is doing well tonight. So, get some sky on here. The feel for this Nova's patsies here, because this is going to be the big practice. We're coming down. I guess I could do the adder next. Anxiety, because the Mad Cat's one of my favorite mechs. A little bit of anxiety, because that is one of my favorite mechs of all time. If I botch her, then I'm going to have to, buy another one just to redeem myself later. One thing, I saw on Twitter recently about learning how to paint, and I wish I had done this way back, and even now I still wish I had done it, and I still might do it. For advice to learn how to paint and test out paint schemes and all of that, like color shading, everything. Just buy those, like, like at the dollar store or whatever, where you can buy like that big ass bucket of plastic soldiers for like $5 or whatever. The little army men. Buy those. Buy one of those and just get to practicing. You will learn so much, because it'll be on stuff that you don't care about. And that'll change a lot of how you practice with painting. If I had known that to start with, whole different thing. I'd probably be a hell of a lot better painter than I am now. Throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there. Not terribly good now. At least I don't feel I am. But anyway, I see what people that can actually paint can do. Bad thing about being part of like a couple of really cool communities. You get to see what people that are actually talented can do. Drawing, at least I can kind of hold my own. Painting minis, yeah. I'm the guy that it looks good until you start seeing real talent. That's okay. I have fun doing it, and that's all I'm really doing it for, is my enjoyment. And if I learn things along the way with you guys, then I'm more than willing to share the knowledge. Kinky saw something. Okay. Also, hi, Lurking Kinky. Saw something she didn't like. Ah. How are you doing today? I hope you've had a really good day so far. Yeah, enjoyment's definitely the name of the game. In some ways, as much as I hate not having that extra revenue from building machines, and building gaming rigs and stuff, as much as I hate not having it, towards the end, like, when it's somebody that I knew, and I was building rigs for people I knew, it was still fun. But like when I was starting to build for like strangers and stuff, and I was getting a lot of them, and it was just like it started becoming a job. I know that sounds stupid because it's like you're doing something you wanted to do and you volunteered to do it, but it became a job. I stopped having as much fun with it. In some ways, I'm kind of glad that the pandemic happened in that regard, and that crypto mining took off when it did because of the pandemic in part. And I'm kind of glad for it because it's taken the entire option for me to build professionally pretty much off the table for now. I mean, honestly, it's been kind of a good thing, especially after the promotion. Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. In your case though, like drawing, like I could see doing for commissions. Like really being creative, like really creative. You know, no joke creative. You're doing it. You know, you're taking something from nothing and making it. I think that would be different. Um, where I'm not dependent on like an inventory, for example. I don't have to have, I don't have to buy 4 graphics cards this month, just to make sure that there aren't any gaps, or I don't have to have this amount of CPUs in storage ready to go, in case I get another surprise order like I did the last time, or things like that, where I could see like maybe the commissioning for like drawing could still be fun, but only if I'm not doing it full time. Like you said, it'll take the fun out of it. I mean, we were getting to a point there for a while while I was building machines where realistically I was looking at having to I should look into buying property, or some property, or at least renting out a space and making a real go of it. Like I was legit at that point, and then everything hit the fucking fan, and I'm like, at the time I was thankful that I didn't already pull the trigger on it, because once that had started happening, it would only been a matter of time before I quit my real job. And my real job, which is literally to me just a future pension and my lifetime health insurance. That's all it is to me now. But if not for that, I don't know. Well, probably would have been screwed. I'm glad I waited a little bit. Back when we were all sweet summer children and we still thought, humans would come together, not skull fuck each other out of being able to do things. Hey guys, this will be over in like a month. Remember that? Remember that? We were all like, it's be done with in a month. Everyone's just got to use their brain. Be done in a month. Instead, what we discovered is no one has a brain anymore. So the glass shield. Yeah, like I said, we were sweet summer children. We thought like, oh man, everyone just all we gotta do is just stay tucked away from each other for like a month, and this is done. And at the time, I thought that was plausible because I was like, hell, most people can't stand themselves, let alone anybody else. I worked retail, I knew how humans are to each other. Like, hell, this would be easy. And there was still a part of me, like, at the start that was like, oh, yeah, the government's going to write some checks, plural, just keep everybody home. Nobody has to work for a little bit. We'll get that do-over, We'll just do it all over again. And that's going to be the end of it. It'll be done. 1 month. 2 years later. I mean, it's not officially been 2 years, but I don't think it's going to improve between now and next March. So I'm going to call my shot. It might be too early, but I'm calling my shot. Call me the babe. I'm doing that right now. It'll be going on in March. Damn, we're at that point already where I have to start looking at this Timberwolf. I guess I could work on the adder. This Nova looks good though. I won't lie. The Nova and the Mongrel look just great. I mean, they haven't stopped spreading it around anyway. Um, we're about to have this stupid ass event at work that I've got to deal with. It's going to turn into like 3 12-hour long days, and it's a completely, totally unnecessary event that we literally don't even have to do, and we're doing it. And I'm like, why? Why? Just use our brains. Just know. But I'm gonna say it. The upside is I got some serious brownie points from my staff. They're gonna love me half to death by the end of this because I picked up. I bought a projector sometime in 2020. I think it was 2020. I bought this projector, and at the time I bought it because I was like, we just kind of need a big screen that we can all just kind of watch shit at on, like, a long break during summer when we're like, kind of bored and not have much to do, and things slow down for us during the summer, and I was like, okay, that's what we bought, and I bought it for. Well, one of my staff goes, I got a giant, and then I'm thinking about this stupid event that's coming up. I'm like, well, if we're gonna suffer by having to be here, fuck, I'll just move the projector screen and this projector out into the main section, in our main maintenance area, and our little shop, and we'll just watch our shit until the event's over for the day, and then we'll go deal with whatever has to be fixed or disposed of or cleaned. And I was all set, right? And then one of my staff goes, dude, I've got a like 120-inch projector screen. I'm like, the wheels start turning, like the light bulb goes off, and I'm like, we could do something with this. So, devious math kicks in and goes, well, why don't we just make a whole thing out of this? I'll bring in a crock pot. We'll have some crock pot barbecue on Monday. Like, I'm going to have to come in, because Monday's still a paid holiday, but they're forcing us to work it because of this stupid-ass event that we don't need. And I'm like, well, I'll just bring in the crock pot. We'll have some crock pot barbecue. Maybe some blueberry cheesecake to go with it. And some homemade blueberry cheesecake. And we're just going to have a good old time. And then he goes, well, hell, I'll just bring in another crock pot, and then we're gonna fucking, crock pot sausages too, and peanut butter cake, and like one of my other coworkers is like, he's like, I'll bring in some cookies, some homemade chocolate chip cookies. And the person making these cookies, I swear she's putting cocaine in them, because you don't. Let's just put it this way. There's that point where you shouldn't eat any more chocolate. And everyone knows where that point is, like, for their body, right? You don't care. You don't care. You're going to eat all of the cookies that your stomach can even physically fit. They're that good. So I'm like, well, that's some serious brownie pointage there. I'm one of those bosses that I firmly believe that my job is to make their job easy. Because if their job is easy, they're going to make me look better at my job. All I have to do is enable the hypercare. That's all I got to do. That's my job. You know what? It's worked so far. Worked really good so far. But yeah, this is like next level fuckery on my part as far as, what I'm willing to do. Yeah, we'll set this up. And now, like, I wouldn't say we're, like, looking forward to the stupid-ass event. But this is, like, the first time I can think of where none of us are dreading it. Like, we're not having that moment of, life, I have to do this today. Like, it's gonna suck for me because my sleep schedule is going to be so fucked. So fucked. Because I have to go in at noon, and I'm probably going to be leaving at midnight or later on the first day. The second day, I'm going to be there at like 2 or 3, and then leaving at about the same time, like midnight or 1 o'clock, somewhere in there probably. Unless things go exceptionally well. And I don't know. Like, it's going to suck on that side of it, but as far as like being there itself doesn't make me. It is a Christmas tournament for the worst sport known to man, basketball. Yeah, I don't care if someone's a basketball fan of this stream. I said what I said, and I meant what I meant. You're just pretending at being a real sport like football or hockey, or you're down there with golf. Sorry to any of you NCAA fans and all that crap. Y'all are watching a sport that's as boring to me as golf. So this tournament has no bearing whatsoever. To give you an idea of why this is so unnecessary, it has no bearing on the regular season. Like, there's doesn't count for any of your W's or nothing. Just a chance for your players to get hurt, spread some COVID around, just for a smidgen of some ticket revenue, and making the maintenance crew and auxiliary staff's lives just absolute dog shit for 3 days. Plus any volunteer teachers or volunteer that are, happen to be involved. So like I said, it's complete garbage, start to finish. It's unnecessary, and it should have been the first thing to go during a plague, but here we are. And I know what's gonna happen.
can almost guarantee you that there's going to be some plague spread around from this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Ball and told. Really, really digging the Timberwolves.
I had anxiety over this for nothing. A great Mac. Yeah, we're just kind of rocking and rolling. But yeah, I pretty much decided at that point. I was like, well, we're gonna make everybody's lives easier during this whole shoot match, and just let what happens happens. I can't control the plug end of it.
I'm just going to focus on making sure everything is stuck and that nothing breaks beyond repair. But you know, fun fact, so during like 2 of these,
I've been there a long time. I've had to deal with a lot of but plus the regular season. Man, you want to talk about a lot of heart attacks? Man, I shit you not. 1 year.
1 year we had like 3. We had 3 in one season. 1 was on the court and 2 were in the stands. That is, I'm like, dude, if you, because I mean it's an enclosed area, right? Like, you know, it's hot as hell.
Especially during the wintertime. Wintertime is especially that way, but and the reason why it's, you know, ridiculously hot in there in the wintertime is because we don't run the AC, we run the heat. Hold on. No one ever thinks that,
You know, hey, this gym is going to be like, you know, filled with 2,800 people. It's going to get like 90 degrees in that bitch. You know, people above me in the pay grade are like, I just run the heat, it'd be fine. Don't want them getting cold. No one ever thinks about the other end of it. Yeah, no, I do not like being in there. I don't like being in there. And it's a big ass gym too. Like, this is like a, you know, most high school gyms, they start to run out of capacity around, like, you know, the 1,000 marker. This gym holds 2,900 people. You put 2,900 people in an enclosed area during the cold depth of winter, it ain't gonna be cold in there. Cold is the least of your problems. You gotta expel that heat, because every person that is in there is over 3,000, is a 3,000 BTU heater when they're not jumping around and screaming like a bunch of madmen. Watching Junior do things that they never could do. I'm not being charitable at all towards this sport, and rightly so, in my opinion. Not exciting. Not cool. And it's disproportionately hard on the facility compared to literally everything else that goes on. Cosmic irony that, you know, I work at a place that is, you know, known for its basketball program. downside is I think it's going to be a short season because I think the team sucks this year. Just going off of my an early litmus test of how do they do against their rivals, the local rivals, and they barely won. The reason why this is a good indication that they're going to be terrible this year is those other their rivals suck. Every year they suck. So it'll be a short season. That's my one comfort. Not front. They're going to be regular season and done, or very close to that. They're going to get their ass kicked. They're games. It works for me. That's not bad. That's not bad. Turning into something anyway. Yeah, well, we're gonna add some FRR gold into. So the next who is this in a fight? There's a lot of little details on this puppy, man. I'm telling you. And the Mad Cat is still one of my favorite mechs. Will always be. The note to game designers looking to build the Mech Warrior franchise up a little bit. Guys, do not be afraid to put a cone of uncertainty into this sucker. And into your game. Because the tabletop is literally balanced around the fact that RNG determines a lot of where you hit in Battletech. Put that cone of uncertainty in there. Keep the cooldowns decently long, so you keep the time to kill long. And then you don't have to do anything stupid like Piranha did, and like double armor and then add quirks to add even more armor. Mechs that still can't perform well. You can eliminate a lot of that stuff just by doing that. So, just your friendly armchair dev advice there. I love this monster. Looks so cool, doesn't it? That's gonna look so cool all done. So the next thing we need to work on. I think I gotta fix some dark blue in there, don't I?
cleaning up some lines up on the ears here. Work on the top of the cockpit too. Just making sure that we've some detail I never noticed about Timberwolf before.
It's there, though. So this side has a different
Side of the hatch
than the other does. Never noticed that before today. But it's in there in MechWarrior Online, too, because they did a hell of a job with that. Okay, so let's add a little bit more of that sea green. Yeah, this is the one that I really kind of wanted to work on the most. As much anxiety as I had about doing it. What we're going to do is, we're going to grab some of that coastal blue. Yes. Yes, it is. This is the big boy. This is the arguable face of the BattleTech franchise. It used to be, like, before the clan invasion, the face of this other franchise was probably the Atlas. Yeah, for sure the Atlas is one of the big boys. It still is. Which I cannot wait for that thing to get here. Because, guys, I have a treat especial for that. So now we're going to take that darker sea green again. Man, this mech is so cool. I don't... Now that I've fooled around with it, honestly, this is like, of all the four, probably the easiest one to paint. It's a very inspiring model to work on. I love this. It's so good. It's so good. There's nothing to not like about this mech, though. Like, it's got all the right lines. We actually have a brush balm that we've been using. Really helps keep your ship. It helps slow the cross-contamination down, too.
we're gonna do on Sunday. But I will make sure that we do something together, guys, on Sunday. I know some of y'all might not have some of the best home situations going. All of our family stuff is going to be done tomorrow. We'll do something together, and we'll make it happen. We're going to make something together. I don't know if it's going to be D&D. I don't know who can make it, if anybody. At our end of things, we'll do something. Y'all been cool to me these last few years. Y'all been cool to me. Some of y'all have gotten me some really cool shit. You know, I still got material somewhere. Oh, I never got to show this off. So, hang on a minute, guys. Y'all stick right there. Don't go anywhere. I got something to bring out of the computer for y'all. I didn't show it off on Twitter, and I meant to, but I just never got around to it. Why wait for Twitter when I can do it now? Right that little wrong. Y'all. No joke. So this is one of the things one of my players got me. Got me a Strahd. That is a Funko Pop Strahd. That would be Hope's player. Just wanted to show that off. Some of the cool shit. Like I said, y'all been great to me. Y'all put up with my shit, and some of y'all might vaguely remember when we used to play video games. A whole lifetime ago, that was. But yeah. We'll do something on Sunday for you, one way or another. If it ain't D&D, it'll be the shooty boats. Yeah. World of Warships. Which I still want to go see Wisconsin. Hopefully this spring break. Please let the plague be abated by then, at least mostly. I really want to see that ship. I really do. I want to see the Wisconsin so bad. It feels so unfair. Last year the exhibit was completely shut down. And then they opened it up a little bit, and but you couldn't go inside. So it took like half the point of going out altogether. But yeah, I'm hoping to shoot for this April. I'll get to go see her. I hope. Yeah, guys, it's been a thing. It's been a thing. I'd say I'd play the shooty boat game again, but wargaming. Ooh, boy, is that that's a rant and a half video right there in itself. The TLDR version will be just go watch Flamu content. You'll understand why soon enough why I quit playing that train wreck. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they... Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, that one... Man, that was before they put the submarines in and it was toast. And then they put the subs in. Damn, y'all can't even balance what you put in. You're gonna add more? Okay. Wiser men than I and all that, I guess, but, I feel I got out of that one just in time. When I hear, see the gladder I am that I left when I did. I'll admit I'm a fairly aggressive player. The game already had a problem with passivity. It just made it worse and worse and worse, and then they reworked the carriers the way they did. That was just way too much. At that point, I was just like, it's time. It's time to leave. We got everything we can get out of it. Sucks, because, man, they have such a good art department over there. They do not deserve that art department at all. That art department deserves so much better than them. I so mean that, guys. Beautiful, beautiful ship designs. Beautiful aesthetics. Yeah. Damn, that balance was terrible at the end. Um, I think it says a lot that I will play Star Trek Online again. Long before I pick up ships again. Because, yeah, I don't believe in giving myself cancer. I want to do that. Uh, Not really. Not anymore. Like, it's funny because, like, thank you, Blizzard. Uh, Once, like, so I got out of ships, and then I was like, well, I can go back to HOTS, and, I can ham it up in HOTS, and I was doing it, and I was having a pretty decent time of it. And I had the game figured out enough that I could win, I could carry, I was, having a good time. Yeah, and then Activision happened again. And at that point, I was like, I'm done with that. So, I haven't really been, honestly, like, the last year and a half, I really haven't been playing a lot of anything. Um, every once in a while, I'll fire up Mech Warrior Online. But I'm gonna have to change the mouse before I get back into that one. This mouse and that game do not mix well. This has got too much drag on it. Like the mouse itself just has too much drag, and I don't think the clicker, like the pointing end of the cursor, is where it doesn't sync up right with the UI. Because I know that. I literally took out a mouse that I haven't touched in 10, 12 years, and plugged it in, played, and immediately noticed an improvement in my aim and everything else. And that's not exactly... That mouse has been through a lot, let's just put it that way. 14 in Red Dead. Yeah, online and bullshit together. It's been weird. Like, as far as, like, the actual, like, the video game side of my hobbies, like, video games and cars, both, for me. I wouldn't say that I'm not interested in them anymore, but don't know, like... It's hard to describe. Like, I don't know. Like, the magic isn't there anymore, like, for a lot of games for me. And now there is stuff that I'll play once in a while. Like, I've got a couple RPGs that I'll break out now and then. Um, Stellaris, I'll gladly play whenever I've got someone to play with me. Just because, like, I enjoy Elden Ring. Elden Ring, Elden Ring. Link that in the Discord. Put that in the Discord. I'm curious what that is. But Stellaris, I can still sink hours into that. Gladly. Gleefully sink hours into Stellaris with friends. That I still enjoy a lot. It's relaxing. Some side scrollers. I love me some good side scrollers. I've actually been playing. Now that I say that, I say that I've not really been doing a lot of gaming, and that is true. But now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, you know, I have played a fair bit of my PlayStation 2. Since I got that upscaler, especially. I have been playing a fair bit of that. It's a driver error, because if it was the stereo, it'd still be doing it. Okay, yeah, that's pretty boss. This is getting pretty boss. What a cool mech. I mean, really, what a cool mech. So let's put him away for now. Let's work on the Nova a little bit. Try to get him a little bit more blinged out. I just don't know as much to do with him. I wanna... Hold on. The Nova's pretty well there. How about him? The Grendel here. He is called by our side the galactic collision between the clans and the story. The Grendel. So, other than the Timberwolf and the Direwolf, Inner Sphere names for the clan mechs tend to be better, in my opinion, than the actual clan mech names. Mad Cat and Timberwolf is kind of a wash as to which one sounds cooler. It's entirely personal preference. But, like, the Hellbringer, like, it sounds so 90s. Like, you're expecting the edgelord to pick a mech called the Hellbringer. It is so 90s it hurts name-wise. You say the Loki, though, and it's like, that's cool. The Summoner is what the clans call one of their mechs. The Inner Sphere calls it the Thor. Awesome. We'll have to check that out after the stream. Like I said, the Inner Sphere calls it the Thor. Instantly cooler than Summoner, in my opinion. Just damn. Just sounds terrifying. Sounds powerful. Sounds amazing. And then you hear what it's armed with, and it's, you know, armed with 2 plasma cannons, essentially. And it makes sense. What did they call the adder? I can't remember. I mean, to be fair, the adder does sound cool. I don't actually know its Intersphere name. I don't remember the Novas, because the Nova is very self-explanatory as to what it performs like. It's an incredibly explosive machine, for good and for ill. Which it has an assault in the same vein called the Supernova. And it is what makes the Nova great. Boom! Just more of it. A lot more of it. 50 tons more of it. Well, not 50 tons. 30 tons more of it. The Supernova is just, wow. Great. Makes pretty good progress, I guess. Let's get one more little bout of color on here. That coastal blue back out, that Carolina blue. I can claim it's coastal all they want. It's Carolina blue. There are songs that wax poetic about our Carolina blue skies. So. Seriously, like, I love these mechs. I love painting the mechs. Hell, I have a new mech that... This is probably going in my favorite clan mech list. And I didn't even know it existed until I opened this box. Because I'm a medium, heavy, and assault guy first and foremost. Like but I drift more into the mediums and the heavies usually. In the lighter assaults, like the 85, 80 ton range, that seems to be my idea of big boy is if I'm not in the Annihilator, it's my idea of a big boy is, you know, the Night Star, which is 95 tons. But yeah. You know what? I think we've made some really good progress tonight. Let's just kind of get a better focus on this, so kind of see where we are right now. And we've made a lot of progress on these. We still got the adder to even start on. Dial the colors down. But yeah, these are great. Yeah, we did 4. Which isn't bad for my usual pace. And I don't think I'm done yet. I think I'm gonna probably have to do some highlighting yet on the bodies and stuff. We're gonna work on that, starting on the Executioner like we did last time. Because the thing with the Executioner is, I don't care what happens to this guy. He is la disposable. The rest of these I actually really like a lot. I love the rest of the mechs. I love the Grendel here, the Nova, the Mad Cat / Timberwolf, and the Adder. I like the Adder a lot because this thing is literally 2 PPCs and a flamethrower crammed in as tiny of a mech as the clans could. It's cool. But yeah, we're gonna work on him. Our elementals next time. We actually have tiny little dudes here. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on them, but okay, so that's as far as the zoom will take it. But yeah, those are elementals. Just get up here. You can see how tiny these guys are. We've got them to work on. You know what? We can give you guys some really good close-up shots of the Timberwolf now. This is kind of where we're at right now. They're at what I would call fieldable now. They're not highly done or anything by any means. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of give you guys that final little view of what we've accomplished today. We've done quite a bit. This Grendel is so cool, though. Like, there's so much that I love about this thing. It's got the cannon, it's got a fisticuff. I guess I shouldn't give the Executioner as much shit as I'm giving it tonight, but I mean, it's a lame mech. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to anyone that loves the Executioner. To me, it's lame. It's 95 tons of why. Why would you do such a thing? But yeah, guys, we're gonna call that there for now. If all goes well, you guys are gonna see me Sunday around 1 p.m. Eastern, and knock on some wood. If things go our way a little bit, maybe we can continue our Ravenloft campaign if I got enough of my crew together. And if not, then what we'll do is we'll crack open a video game or something, and we'll do that if I'm not finding something else to do. But yeah, somewhere around one on Sunday, we'll do something together. And you guys have a lovely rest of your holiday. Have a great Friday night. Don't party too hard tonight. Please don't drive if you're going to party. And yeah, y'all have a lovely evening. Have a great Christmas.